Hello angels and welcome to my channel. Welcome back. If this is not your first time here, today I'm going to be dropping this video DIY for you all on these Peppa the Pig Air Force Ones customizations. Now my daughter is in love with Peppa the Pig, so I decided to go ahead and customize some of her shoes that have become her play shoes and just have a little fun. So if you want to see how I go ahead and do this for Baby Savvy, go ahead and subscribe to this video and keep on watching. Okay angels, so what you're gonna need is tracing paper. Y'all know on my DIYs I always use some tracing paper. It's like my go-to. Mechanical pencil or just a number 2 pencil. You're gonna need some type of lead, a toothpick, and I'm using acrylic paint on these all white Air Force Ones because I didn't want to invest too much because this is just like my first time doing this. I might do more in the future, but I'm just using acrylic paint. It's only 97 cents from Target or the dollar store, and I just have a bunch of it. So you're going to start off with your pencil, and with your tracing paper you're just going to trace out like different parts of the shoe, or if you know exactly where you want to place your customization, you can trace that specific part of the shoe. I wasn't sure where I was going to place Peppa Pig's face. I knew I wanted to do her face and not any other logo to represent Peppa the Pig, but I wasn't sure about the placement because as you can see, it's not like any like wide surface on this shoe since this is a size 6 and kids, infant, youth shoe size, so it's very small. So I went ahead and traced like a number of different areas on the shoe. Once I had the area that I thought I was going to use, I then went ahead and put just a little stencil of Peppa the Pig onto the tracing paper. So once I had it all stenciled in, I went ahead and just doubled up on the amount of lead that was on the tracing paper because this is how you're going to transfer the image onto the shoe. This just helps with accuracy. I consider myself a decent artist, but just so I can know like the placement and the size is going to be appropriate for whatever shoe I'm using, it's easier to use this transfer method of using lead and tracing paper. I mean, you could use some other type of paper, but it's just not going to be thin enough for you to like really get the good area down for the shoe, if that makes sense. Like you can't really see through computer paper as well as tracing paper, so it's kind of important for placing the picture or logo or whatever you're doing in the right area of the shoe. Now once once I am able to focus this lens better for you all to see what I'm doing, I went ahead and placed the tracing paper over the area that I want the Peppa's face to be on, Peppa Pig's face to be on, and then this is obviously the back side. I go ahead and just run my number 2 pencil back and forth, trying to get that lead that's on the front of the paper onto the shoe. So I really hope that makes sense. But there is still some like gaps. I wasn't able to get like the whole face on there, but I got a good placement of where I wanted the face to be initially. Now you see the shoe now is nowhere near this because it was just too difficult for such a small shoe for me to place her face where I originally wanted, but this is still a good example to show you all how I did place the face onto this man-made white leather. Another trick is when you have these uneven surfaces across the shoe, you can cut it to the surface that you are trying to put the image on, like I did here, just because there was too much of like a space for me to do it originally. So cutting it sometimes helps, I imagine. So that's what I did. I'm really just going for this, y'all. It's my first time, but this definitely will not be my last. And there she go, Peppa the pig. And I go ahead and fill in some of the gaps as well, just freehanded it in. But like I said, this placement was a little too hard for such a small shoe. Now if I was doing it on a size like my size of a shoe, I probably would have had more. I know I would have more space to actually get it on. So I ended up moving this logo to the back, and that's why we're using pencil, because it's not permanent. I just went ahead and wiped it off and just moved it to a better spot. So this is where I ended up putting Peppa, because I was able to get her whole face in one area. And this is where the toothpick comes in. So I'm the frugal queen, of course. And I found out from another YouTuber that you can just use a toothpick. You don't have to invest in any type of high definition fine point brush or anything of that nature, any airbrush material yet, unless you really want to get into this, which I'm still debating at this time. So a toothpick is just like really like inexpensive. So, and it helps you get into those spots where you need to get a lot of detail. So this was like a really small image. So the toothpick really helped me get into those fine little corners and crevices and around all the details. This is a custom I can't talk right now. A custom color that I made with the pretty pink acrylic, and I added some satin white to the pretty pink acrylic, and I added a little bit of blue because Peppa got some blue undertones going on. So I kind of mixed this color myself. Otherwise, I would just put all the colors and the details for you all. But I'm pretty much just mixing and going with the shades that I think best match Peppa the Pig. So I let this go ahead and dry, this pink first layer dry, and then I go back in for more details. I didn't record it for you all, but I did record myself adding the pink to the swoosh, to the Nike swoosh before I cut my camera off, because rule of thumb, a good piece of advice that I learned from doing this, you definitely want to use or make enough color for wherever you're going to use it on the shoe. Just make enough, or try to make like more than you need, so you won't have like two different tones of pink when it's obviously supposed to be the same pink. This right here is me trying to smooth out some of the brush marks, because I did just use like a dollar store brush for the swoosh, but you definitely could see like some of the brush streaks on it. So I went ahead and patted it out with this baby wipe. I just used a wet baby wipe to kind of smooth it out a little bit. Or you can use like a foam brush. I feel like that would give it more of a leather look. And then I top it all off with this finisher, this acrylic finisher. It helps protect, gloss finish, helps with yellowing, which is overall good for Air Force Ones because they tend to yellow. But this is the finish I get. Like I said, I didn't want to invest too much, but I happened to have that gloss finish, so I went ahead and sprayed it on. Otherwise, I would have just left it as is, because like I said, these are Baby Savvy's play shoes, and I just like to put my little touch wherever I can, but I'm not breaking the bank for it. So I really hope you all enjoyed this DIY. I definitely been doing a lot of DIY on shoes. So if you like this content, there will be more mommy and me DIYs for Baby Savvy or for Baby Savvy and Mama Savvy. So if you like what you saw, please consider subscribing to this channel. It will make my day. I appreciate you watching and watching to the very end. And as always, I pray you continue to walk in and live your blessed life. Be